Right now, Fox 5's Crime in the City. Here's what's happening. First, a Bronx woman who was allegedly being held against her will was rescued thanks to a Yonkers cafe and a Grubhub delivery order.
So Grubhub is giving $5,000 to a restaurant in Yonkers for helping in a crisis. Listen to this. Police say the Chipper Truck Cafe got a food order Sunday morning. It included a desperate plea to call police. The author was allegedly being held against her will and being raped in her home. The cafe's owner says the note was a bit jumbled, but the message was very clear. They called the cops who arrested 32-year-old Kemoy Royal.
A lot of customers write notes wanting things added on or taken off, or if they have an allergy. And they're very important notes that you have to pay attention to. So I'm always hounding my workers, like, pay attention to those notes, and thanks be to God they did.
Absolutely. Grubhub praised the restaurant for its simple but extraordinary act. Meantime, Royal is facing charges including rape, unlawful imprisonment, and assaults.
College basketball player Darius Lee, 21, was shot and killed during a wild gun battle in Harlem between two heavily armed groups, according to NYPD sources.
A quiet memorial of photos, candles, and balloons was set up outside the West 138th Street apartment where Darius Lee was staying for the summer with his family. He was the unintended target of a wild roving gun battle police sources say began when rival gang members showed up late at a neighborhood Father's Day barbecue just after midnight. It happened in a park area off the FDR Drive near East 139th Street.
He died not even a block and a half away from where he lived at. He used to walk to the little grocery store.
21-year-old Darius Lee was a hometown hero in Harlem and an inspiration to neighborhood kids. The star basketball player for Houston Baptist University was on a full scholarship and was named Male Student Athlete of the Year. He was set to graduate with a bachelor's degree in December. Devastated, doesn't begin to describe how his father feels.
I don't think it hit me yet. I know it's reality, but my son is gone. It hurts.
8 other people were wounded as they ran for their lives when the gunfire broke out. Police sources say there were at least 50 rounds fired from 4 or 5 guns, possibly more. It was the last thing residents tell us they expected at a neighborhood celebration.
This gun violence in New York is serious. They need to figure it out. They need to do something about it because it's bad. Innocent bystander. That was not meant to be for him.
NYPD officers posted flyers announcing a $3,500 reward for any information.
The truth is going to come out, man, so I advise whoever it is to just, speak up, turn yourself in. You're going to have to do that. You wouldn't want nobody to bring you in. Turn yourself in.
Police are also analyzing the many shell casings that were recovered here at the scene. Investigators can link them to specific guns. So far, there have been no arrests, but we can tell you that detectives are working around the clock to try to find those responsible.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams is already making changes to his plan to bring back solo officer patrols in the transit system after an officer was attacked.
It was around 6:48 p.m. on Tuesday. A transit officer was on a solo patrol on the southbound 3 train platform at the Pennsylvania Avenue station in Brooklyn. The officer approached Alex Ehrman, a 24-year-old homeless man, and asked him to put out his cigarette. According to the NYPD, Ehrman refused and threw himself down a staircase. When the officer went to help, police say Ehrman grabbed him and tried to drag the officer down the rest of the staircase. Seen here on Citizen app, Ehrman was taken to the hospital for a medical evaluation. The officer was taken to a different hospital and is in stable condition.
First of all, to that hero officer, I thank him for service. I thank God that he's okay and the bad guy is in jail, a person who has a history of assault.
Yet this attack comes one day after Mayor Eric Adams unveiled a new policy separating officers in certain stations to cover more ground. Transit cops started patrolling in pairs after 2 officers were shot in 2014. But the mayor says he is not too rigid to change his mind about solo patrols. Now, 2 officers will walk through train cars in separate directions but stay within eyesight of each other.
If that officer is on the 2 train and they're 3 cars apart, they can physically see each other through that door as they move through the train.
A spokesperson for the NYPD PBA expressed support for the changes to solo patrols and said, quote, the mayor indicated that the deployment plan will be modified so that there are 2 police officers on every train patrol. Adam says the goal remains the same: help riders feel safer by seeing more officers on the subway. But riders are split on how safe they feel, even seeing police on the train.
Not really, not at all, because they never there when you needed them.
Yes, of course, I do.
Not always, so sometimes.
With transit crime up 55% this year, Adam says he hopes this will encourage more people to return to the trains. They will also be launching a public awareness campaign on how to be a safer rider.
The NYPD is on the hunt for 2 suspects on a scooter-type vehicle after one of them opened fire on a man in the Bronx.
Police are searching for 2 suspects who they say shot a man in the chest in the Soundview section of the Bronx. Video shows the 2 men on a motorbike driving down Lafayette Avenue back on June 13th. Investigators say one of the suspects fired at a 24-year-old victim, striking him in the chest. He was rushed to the hospital in stable condition. Now, if you recognize the suspects or the bike, call Crime Stoppers at 800-577-TIPS.
And finally, the NYPD was looking for the person who poured gasoline inside a beauty salon on the Lower East Side of Manhattan and lit it on fire, injuring 2 people.
It happened yesterday afternoon at Eldridge and Broome Streets. Video from Citizen App shows the scene just after firefighters put out those flames. Officials say a 60-year-old woman and a 46-year-old man were burned, but their injuries are not considered life-threatening. Police are searching for the suspect in that case.
That's this week's Crime in the City.